Yes, I have two PhDs which are entirely different projects. So my first PhD is in history, and I look at the relationship between governments and media in times of war, particularly the wars of the 20th and the beginning of the 21st century. And I explore ways in which governments used media or created new local media in conflict zones in order to win the hearts and minds of the local population in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and in other conflicts. And the reason I look at history is, in my view, without history, we can't really understand the complexities of international crisis or political communication and peace building, because in any clash, in any conflict, there's trauma, there's contested interpretation of events of the past and present, where societies cannot agree on how they reached this point. And this interest in history is one of the reasons why I love telling stories to my students and to my readers, where through a story which is unexpected, unusual, shocking, or which demonstrates how different or similar events are, I can really show how little or how much progress societies have made in overcoming crisis. I joined the department as lecturer in 2015, and apart from the excellent research and teaching reputation, I was really attracted by the interdisciplinarity of the post, because I was coming from a background in international politics, in history and political psychology, and here I am in the Department of Journalism Studies. So for me, this was really an excellent opportunity to combine my interests in politics, international relations and media representations, because I study perception of international crisis. In my book, I explore three principal questions. First, how do people make sense of distant international crisis? Second, why are some representations more appealing and convincing than others? And thirdly, how through imagining distant international events, societies come to imagine themselves and their own societies. And I argue that when we are faced with disruptive, unexpected, uncertain international crises which we do not witness directly, but rely on representations in the media or on political speech, societies bring in their own memories, values, fears, aspirations into understanding and making sense of these events. In the book, I explore Russian and British public perception of the Arab uprisings, and I demonstrate how in imagining these critical events, societies both in Russia and the UK idealized themselves, how they saw what they feared to see or what they hoped to see in this crisis. I draw on interviews with members of the public, on media representations, on analysis of the political speech to make this argument, and this argument is applicable to a variety of other crisis situations and other societies. So the main point that I'm making is how we bring our own identity, our own memory, and how we construct idealized positive versions of ourselves in understanding and representing international others. What I enjoy most about teaching? Well, a sense of genuine curiosity and discovery. If I can give that to my students and I see that reflected in their eyes, that this is something new, this is something interesting, this is something they are enjoying, that's exactly what I enjoy in teaching. Now, when I was doing my master's and later when I was doing the PhD as well, the most important thing was the discovery. I felt that I was swimming in a sea of ideas where everybody else is contributing, where everybody else has their own voice and can give their own interpretation of international events or media representations or their political views. And so this is something which I value greatly about teaching, is creating that space where we can be genuinely curious and where we can be free. Well, in my current and future research, I look at several things. I look at humor in political campaigns, in public diplomacy, in international politics. So the use of humor to mobilize audiences and mobilize nations, to communicate controversial international events to foreign publics. Secondly, I'm looking at diasporas, and particularly at diasporas during war or diasporas during unexpected, uncertain events in their home country, and specifically at how diasporas can take part in online activism, in cyber warfare, in information campaigns. And thirdly, I am looking at the future of humanitarian crisis response, particularly how digital technology changes this response, reshapes it, and how a completely new form and format of response is emerging based on digital tools.